Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B! This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. This podcast exists because we want you to win. And what is leverage? It's what you're going to need to win. Leverage is a strategic advantage. It's the power to act effectively. It means they want you and they need you more than you need them. That's why we called it the C.L.I.M.B, C.L.I.M.B, creating leverage in the music business, which is genius. That was birthed by my lyrically pregnant friend and co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And Brent helps songwriters like you turn pro by revealing how you write like a pro, do business like a pro, and not only that, once you're there, he connects you with the pros. What more could you ask for? You can find Brent really easily at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. They help you find your sound, and they help you grow your audience so you can become the artist that everybody loves, and so you can get paid. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production, singular, no S. There's no S because there is no other. Johnny D.
That's right. Thank you.
Yes.
That's a great
Make you wait for that one. It was a pregnant pause.
Brilliant.
Yes.
With your lyrically pregnant self.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Just birthing lyrics.
Birthing them. It's a whole litter of them. Just a lyrical litter.
How you doing, brother? Did you have a good weekend?
I'm doing all right.
Good Memorial Day weekend?
Just general craziness. The family just running around. We didn't do anything real big. So, raining.
Did you do some barbecuing or anything like that?
No.
Did you throw a hamburger on the grill, a rib?
No.
No?
What did we have? I don't even remember what we had, but it was good, honey.
It was tasty.
What am I kidding? She's never listening to this.
Well, hey, real quick, if you haven't joined the C.L.I.M.B community, join the C.L.I.M community. Search for it on Facebook. Ask to be let in. We will let everybody in, and if you misbehave and you're obnoxious, we will roadhouse you. Make no mistake about that. Mm-hmm. It will always nice until it's time
to not be nice. A bear fell on me.
That's right. Great community, though. You got marketing questions, you got songwriting questions. You ask it there. Brent and I think we could safely say we respond to everything.
I try.
Yeah, we try.
Facebook sometimes doesn't show me everything. So in my own, in our own group, it's seriously
no way.
Yeah,
really?
For real. I experienced it over my other group. It's like,
what?
I didn't see that. Okay.
Well, anyway, the community.
But that's our out.
Always helps it. There you go. We have plausible deniability.
Yeah, Facebook would just show us everything. Yes.
But it's the community helping each other out. If you like this content, please share it. There's got to be a friend or a compadre, another musician that you know that could benefit from this. Turn them on to it. It'll make you cool, and it helps us. A referral is better than them finding us out directly online, right?
That's exactly. Social proof.
Take 30 seconds, leave a rating and review. It helps us look legit to people who are thinking about sticking their toe in the water, who want to know. So we appreciate that. And finally, what's the last thing I want to mention? Did I mention everything already?
I think we did. The conference is over.
Boom, conference is over.
And yes, let's get to today.
All right, so what are we going to learn today?
All right, well, today I'm going to talk about building a hit. And I'm specifically going to talk about Blake Shelton and his current hit country single, I Lived It. So his current single, I Lived It, is living it up on the country singles chart. And so we're going to look at some of the ways the songwriters built this song to be a Blake Shelton hit. But first...
Yes, we have a review. So this review is, I need a star exponent for the 5 stars. I think that means that 5 stars isn't
just
enough.
Not enough.
Now that's a review.
That is star inflation,
right there.
Okay.
This is by Steve Adore. It says, we've recorded 6 songs with Johnny Dwinell, and the satisfaction level has always exceeded. Thank you, guys. Well, that's cool.
Thank you, Steve. We adore
that's good. Yeah,
that review.
I feel like that's... like that's a name that he put in there, but that's Steve from Two Moon Junction. Like he's gotten some love from the songs that he's done too. He's doing a little bit of business with it. So,
excellent. Well, thank you, Steve. We appreciate it. I mean, you didn't have anything nice to say about me, but that's fine. It's fine, Steve.
You're not
that's
recording
fine.
his babies. You're not taking care of his babies like I am. I go out of my way. We make it happen.
That's all right. So we appreciate the 5 to the second or third power stars.
That's right, and yeah, if you can go to the Daredevil Production website, daredevilproduction.com. Just look under Find Your Sound for the discount demo deal. We can get you in on the what he's talking about is like a session with the A-list, like seriously the Nashville legends like Bobby Terry, like Brent Mason, like Buddy Hyatt, like Google those names.
Some people with some educated fingers.
Yeah, you don't need to Google them. You can just turn on the radio and you'll hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll hear them on every freaking song on the radio, literally. Right. It's ridiculous for the last 25 years. But these are the cats that we play in the sandbox with, and normally that would be cost prohibitive for a songwriter to do like one or two songs with them, but we set it up to make that work for you. So just get in touch with us there if you'd like to do that. But speaking of songs, let's learn about Blake.
Building a hit. So Blake Shelton and I lived it. So the big thing to remember here is great songs don't happen by accident. So they're a series of wise choices. So and there are 4 writers on this song, actually. It's Ashley Gorley, who's written like all the number ones. And if he didn't write it, the other writer did.
Hold on, before that, say that one more time.
Yes.
They don't happen by accident. They're
a series of wise choices. A series of choices.
So good. A series of wise choices, as opposed to just vomiting out a bunch of stuff and saying, look at my song.
Right, yeah. You're always making choices, whether you deliberate over them or not. But if you wise choices, and we're going to go into some of this. But yeah, you got 4 writers on this song, all of them pros, all of them multi-number 1 hit songwriters. You got Ashley Gorley, Ben Hayslip, Red Akins, and Ross Copperman. Same thing with those players on your demo deal. Just turn on the radio. You'll hear one of their songs, most likely. So they made some great choices when building I Lived It. So Blake wasn't a writer on this. But you know what? Neither was I. I wasn't in the room with them. I wish I were. But so I can only speculate on the thought process behind this song. But being a professional songwriter myself, I can take an experienced and educated guess and also looked at it going, okay, what are the things that built this to be a hit? So you ready to dive in? I have, I think, like 4 things or so.
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right. So the first thing is they stick to the brand. So this, I'm sure, was written to be a Blake Shelton song. I mean, overall, this song is built to fit Blake's brand of country because different artists have different lanes. They have different brands. But this one really fits Blake to a T. The lyric is really country. And the song is about what it's like to grow up country, like really country. So the subject matter fits
like country,
not
right.
Country in a city, not suburb country,
like country in the middle of Oklahoma in a small town with like one courthouse and a town square around it, and that's
kind of thing.
And one light, and then it's nothing but country,
right? So the subject matter fits Blake, and it also fits nicely beside other songs he's cut. So if you look at Blake's catalog, some other songs that are. This pairs well with, are songs like Green, Boys Around Here, Hey. So there's several that are about that, just that country lifestyle kind of thing, and have a little bit of quirkiness to them. And this fits well within that. If you think of your products, your songs as products on a shelf, like this is a Blake Shelton section of the store, and he's got his Coke, his Cherry Coke, his Diet Cherry Coke. Yeah. This song is like vanilla Coke. It fits well within the other Coke products. Right. On this shelf. It's not just like, and here's a sparkling water. That's right. Like, what is that doing with these? No, it fits in well with his other.
Here's a Coke and a fruit juice.
And a fruit, exactly. No. Here's an orange juice.
What?
So yeah, maybe if you had vodka in it, it would fit more with Blake's.
Everything is better with vodka.
Fit more with Blake's.
Even your chicken sauce, like your cream sauce.
Right. Okay. So that's a big thing. They stick to his brand. Also, the phrasing and the production are a little more traditional than they are progressive, which generally fits Blake's brand. So it's, if you've heard it, it's one of the country things on the radio right now. And Blake can go there. A lot of other people may not go there. Sam Hunt's not going to go there. Other people aren't going to go there. Sure. Keith Urban. But this thing really fits Blake and his brand. So they're not writing something that's totally outside of his wheelhouse. So that's a big thing. Number 1 is stick to the artist's brand. Ready for number 2?
Yeah.
Number 2 is show, don't tell. So in this song, man, if you pull up the lyrics, there are a ton of images in this song.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on to number 2 yet. I want to go back to number 1 for a second.
Yes.
So stick to the artist's brand. We've talked about this before when I did the Colin Ray record. And I think a lot of songwriters get a little hung up on... they get a little intoxicated with an opportunity, maybe when they have one.
I'm guilty.
And they're like, here's everything I've ever written, and like
it could work.
It could, yeah. It's a great song, I think, right? Like it'll work, right? Don't you think? Yeah, you and me were pals, right, bud? You and me were pals. You and me. Yeah.
Right.
Shut up, kid. Shut up. Shut up.
Right.
You know. So, but I think you really need to be cognizant of that, because if that's gonna, what happens if like you get through a gatekeeper or something? What happens if you have that moment, right? That one Johnny Cash moment in Walk the Line where, you know, what have you played that I haven't heard yet? And he's got that one, that's the one moment that gets him the deal, right?
Yeah.
And so you get the face-to-face with the one person, and you give them a song for something that they're specifically asking for, and you ignore everything they're telling you.
Right.
And
you're self-serving.
And now you look like you're self-serving.
Yeah.
You know?
I want you to cut my song, not here's a song to help Blake.
Yeah, I'm not trying to help your problem. I want you to help my problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just be aware of that. You know, like focus on that brand. That's a really important thing. It could be the world's greatest song in the world. Like we talked about American Kids from Kenny Chesney. It was passed on by Lady Antebellum.
Yeah.
Great song.
Great song.
I don't think anybody in Lady Antebellum's going to say, nah, we didn't think it was great. No. They're going to say, this is an amazing song. They probably said, this is a smash.
Right. But it's not for us.
Not for us. Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, just understand that. Don't get your heart hurt. And play. Be a student of the game. So.
Right. They didn't like my orange juice. Well, they don't like oranges.
Yes, they asked for cherry juice.
They're citrus intolerant.
Yeah,
it's not. Doesn't mean the oranges are bad. It's just don't try to get them orange juice.
Yeah.
That was a really weird analogy. So anyway, stick to the brand. So number 2 is show, don't tell. So if you look at the lyric here, there are a lot of images in the song, and it puts us in those moments. It's like a series of memories. So right from the first line, we see a guy driving the wheels off a flatbed Ford. Then we see flies and a hole in a screen door. And so Blake's not just, you know, as the artist, and of course the 4 writers aren't just telling us he grew up country. They aren't just saying he grew up country. They're showing what it's like, you know, growing up country, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like, what it tastes like.
Yeah.
They're giving us the imagery to support that. So they're not just saying, I grew up in the middle of nowhere and I was country, and you had to live it like I lived it. Okay, but
yeah, because why? Because I was country.
Because I said so.
What made you country? Because I was living in the country.
Right.
And there's nothing else around.
Right. Because it wasn't city. Okay, that's not very interesting, right? So this song, though, they give us a lot of fresh, vivid images to help the song stand apart from. Okay, the I grew up country thing is not a new idea, right?
Right.
I mean, this is the way they built this, it's a new window into an old room. It's a room we've been in a bunch of times, or we've seen a bunch of times, because I grew up country. I mean, how many of those are there? Like a ton of them. But so what do they do to help it stand out? And I think part of it's just that fresh imagery you have that's also believable. You had, Mama poured grease in a Crisco can. You know, put 100,000 miles on a Sears box fan. Uncle Joe put tobacco on my hand where them yellow jackets tore me up.
That's like my favorite line of the song.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
And just the way they said it, put tobacco on my hand where them yellow jackets tore me up. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's a country way of saying it. He's not just singing about the country. He's singing from that point of view.
He's speaking the native language.
He is native to the platform, right? So it helps it to stand out because those images are just more fresh. They're not the cliche ones. That's the thing is, you can have images about truck down a dirt road, and there's a little bit of that in there. Daddy drove the wheels off a flatbed Ford, but still, it's a flatbed, and then they don't stick with those kind of cliche images.
Right.
Skinny dip into the creek and,
little pink toes on the dashboard.
Exactly.
Cold beer in the console.
Yeah, they're talking about putting 100,000 miles on a Sears box fan. And I'll talk about more of that kind of stuff in a minute, but the big thing on that is Blake, how many I grew up country or I'm country songs does he get pitched, right? For every album, just a bazillion of them. And so this is a way for that to stand out is melodically it's good, but also lyrically it's just believable and it's fresh.
Yeah.
So fresh. So, and not only that, but these images also give our number 3 way they built this to be a hit. It gives the listener a reason to connect. Okay, so how many people can relate to growing up this way? I can with a lot of it.
Yeah.
Johnny, I don't know if you can.
I can. I mean, I didn't grow up in the city. I grew up in a small town. I didn't grow up in the South. I grew up in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. A lot of country up there.
Yeah, I mean, my town was it's swelled to 8,000 people now, but when I was there, it was like 5,000 people.
Yeah, smaller than the town I grew up in.
And my graduating class was 189 kids. I mean, everybody knew everybody else's business.
Yeah,
we had we had that town square. We had a couple things we're famous for. A lot of small faded map dots surrounded our town. That was like our high school region. Like that's the people we competed against in sports in high school, and so very small town like that. And we had flies and wasps and yellow jackets and all that stuff. So,
which is good. So that's what I want to talk about. They built some things in here for the listener to connect to, right? So a lot of us remember Mama pouring bacon grease in a can. I remember bacon grease in like an old coffee can.
Yep.
I hadn't thought about it in years. I remember, sitting in front of a box fan, and also doing the
I am Darth Vader.
I'm Darth Vader. Doing that.
I am your father. Who hasn't done that?
But I hadn't thought about that in a while. But we had the box fans going in the house and everything, or we'd have it set in the window to bring in some of the outside air. So there are so many of those things in this lyric. So even if you basically, it's going to push the nostalgia button for a lot of listeners.
Yeah.
And nostalgia, is a great way to connect with the listener and have them connect to your song on an emotional level and care about it.
Yeah, I mean, those things like the box fan, like think about that for a second, and drove the wheels off a flatbed truck.
Yeah.
Put 100,000 miles on a Sears box fan. This is all about like making do with what you got, right?
Yeah.
These are not rich people.
Right, yeah.
They're not just cranking the AC when it gets a little hotter outside. They've got to have a different way around it because they don't want to afford that bill.
Right.
I mean, I remember my dad, we didn't have box fans, but he didn't want to crank the AC in our house, so he put an attic fan in that like sucked the air into the house.
Yeah, we had one of those too.
And so at night, he would open all the windows and hit that thing, and then you had like this breeze coming through, and it was really nice, but no AC. I mean, we had AC, but like he didn't want to use it.
Yeah.
He was that guy. He's like, next kid that touches that thermostat is going to get a size 10.5 of their keister. You know what I mean? Coming from a Marine in the tone of voice that ensured he would not be misunderstood, misinterpreted, or ignored.
Oh, right, exactly.
But that's country.
That is. So we had the attic fan too, and I remember the sound of that, opening up, and then the breeze, the fresh air coming through the house. Loved that. Haven't had it in years, but exactly. So, and another example, like if it's been years since you've thought about how cool it was to get your hands on a $2 bill.
Yeah.
To me, that's like the 80s, man. Yeah. Get like you run across a $2 bill, and this line in the lyrics is wouldn't dream about spending that $2 bill that I got for mowing yards. Yeah. So you get a couple things in there, like mowing yards. I did a little bit of that. I remember getting attacked by sweat bees. What the heck are these?
Yeah.
And a $2 bill was really cool. No, I'm not going to spend it.
Yeah. It's a novelty.
Yeah, it was a novelty, and feels more valuable than $2. But what these are like little nostalgia bombs. Yeah. It's like a photo bomb, but it's a nostalgia bomb in your brain. And boy, that releases endorphins, and it's just a great way to, give you a little buzz and to connect to the listener's emotions and get them invested in your song.
Yeah.
It's not the only way to, get the listener invested in your song, but it's a great way. And I think that's what they do with this song. It's a lot of nostalgia. But even if you can't relate to all these things, or even many of these things, they kind of address it in the lyrics. Like, you may think I'm talking crazy, a different language. You might not understand, but that's all right. So even if you can't relate to this stuff, it's so interesting.
Right.
Like tobacco on a, Yellow Jacket bite.
Yeah. Does that work?
Like what? Why are you pouring grease in a Crisco? What's Crisco? It's still interesting because it may still be interesting to just because it's so different. Even if you like, what do they do with the Yellow Jacket thing? So there's still a way to be interesting, even if it's not something that you relate to personally.
Citified, and then now it's a peek into another world, man, another planet, right?
Exactly, yeah. And that's kind of what they talk about it's kind of written to people that don't understand that. Yeah. But also, really, it's for the people that did, because we go, that nostalgia bomb.
So it's like, here's the in crowd,
Yeah.
Like, we all know what we're talking about here. But it's kind of really, the olive branch comes across like, hey, here's what it's like over here. You know, if you haven't heard about this, it's okay, I'm going to tell you about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's inclusive, isn't it? Like,
it is, yeah. It's not saying
it's inclusive to people who don't understand it.
And,
they're saying, come on in, and, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not making this up. Yeah. So it's a great way to do it. And also, the fourth thing I think they use to help build this to be a hit is they keep it moving, right? So because this is really at its heart a sentimental, nostalgic song. And that might lead some writers to write it as a slow ballad, but not these hit songwriters. They know better. So they know that their chances of getting a cut go up as they add some tempo, some groove, or some energy to the song. So that's what they did.
Yeah.
You know, we listened to it right before we started, and it's not, you know, by no means is it an up-tempo rocker. But they put about as much tempo on it, I think, as they could without breaking the sentimental, nostalgic vibe of the song. Mm-hmm. And so some songs are like that. Like, oh, this could go ballad, but why? Right? We want to get a cut, so let's up the BPMs, the groove, the energy of it. But you can't break it. Like, you can't go too fast. Right. Because it would make it a completely different thing. It wouldn't be nostalgic and so much sentimental.
Be some room in the BPMs for him to spin that yarn, you know, to tell that story. Like,
right, let some of these images sink in a little bit.
Yeah. You know, I mean, when we're cutting, right, like, we're very cognizant of that. Like, you know, I'll have a stunt vocalist in there singing. Like, sometimes it's the writer, sometimes it's the artist, sometimes it's, you know, one of my interns or whatever. But I'm listening for, like, you know, sometimes like 4 BPMs makes it sound really rushed, makes it feel frenetic, like gives you anxiety. Right. And the singer can't. They're trying too hard to pack, you know, 10 pounds of sand into 5-pound bags, right? And you don't want that to happen. You want that to kind of flow out naturally. And so the lyric is really important in that, and kind of letting that sink in. And hey, man, this is kind of a relaxed. This is country. This is a relaxed feel. This is not a city song. Yeah. This is not Hollywood Nights, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Somebody posted something on Facebook the other day that was like, name one song that makes you want to speed.
Oh, yeah,
Hollywood Nights. Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
I look down at my thing when I listen to it, like, oh my God, yeah. Looking around for cops, like all of a sudden I'm slowing down, you know, because but this is a slow country, right? But it's mid-tempo, and it just allows that lyric to sink in, and he gets to wax on that whole time. Yeah.
And so even the kind of balladish thing, a sentimental, nostalgic thing like this, it still has some groove, some energy to it, which is important. So you don't want to break the song that way. We did a Know the Row event with Jimmy Yeary. He wrote I Drive Your Truck. And that's one thing we talked about was ballad versus, you know, putting more tempo on it. And it's a big song, and it moves, but they couldn't move it too fast because they would have broken the emotion of it.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, they gave it kind of as much as they could without breaking it, just because they know that that's better for radio, better to get a cut. You can't break it.
Yep.
You didn't go too fast. And they didn't do that, obviously. And this song here too, I think they gave what they could give it without breaking it.
Yeah,
which is smart. You know, they right up against it.
Yeah,
but they don't go too far.
There's only one problem that I have with this with the song and the video combination and everything.
Okay,
and that is, if you look at the video at the very end, Blake is carving in years into this tree. Yeah. Okay, and there's this moment where he's doing like it was like 25 years ago or something, and it looks like they cast it really well in the sense that it looks like a young version,
like an 18-year-old Blake or something,
right? But Blake, the way he looks right now, and you pointed out, Brett, well, there's one problem. He doesn't have a mullet.
I know. It's like
he had a mullet.
I know. The 16-year-old Blake. So he lived that mullet.
Yeah, he had that. So that's they were disingenuous. There.
I know. It's like Blake. I know you had the.
You should have gone for it, man.
Just gone there.
And they were showing in the video, guys. They show like old pictures of Blake, like with a guitar, and he's like 4 years old or 5 years old. And one when he's like, I think 14 or something like that. Yeah. That sort of appear in the water and appear in like this dust cloud. It's really kind of cool. It's a well done video, except for that one.
One thing took me out of it.
I'm calling BS on that.
I know exactly. So other than that, it's pretty strong.
What happened to the mullet?
I know. But yeah, I just want to share with the 4 areas in which Ashley Gorley, Ben Hayslip, Red Akins, and Ross Copperman built I Lived It to be a hit song. Of course, these aren't the only elements that make I Lived It a hit, but they are 4 important ingredients. So, but you know what? I don't want to just give you a little bit. I always like to give an opportunity at the end of these. So, if you want to discover even more elements of building a hit, I have a great opportunity for you. So all the month of July, I'm hosting a transformative online event called Building a Hit, from blank page to finished lyric. So it's a powerful 4-week online workshop. So you meet once a week for 4 weeks online from anywhere in the world. And here's what we talk about. You'll learn how to find great song ideas. So basically kill writer's block and fill up the blank page again and again, right? I'll reveal how to focus your ideas for maximum impact. So don't waste any more great ideas by leaving them underdeveloped or confusing, because that's just brutal. Like, I had a great title, a great idea, and I clanked it, right? And also I'm going to reveal how to frame your idea for maximum commercial appeal. So it's having a great, compelling idea really isn't enough. You want to build it in a way, like these guys did on this song, that an artist will want to sing it and an audience will want to hear it. The way you frame it, like these guys framed it with fresh, compelling imagery, enough tempo to keep it moving without breaking it. That kind of stuff is how you frame your song. And also I want to reveal some techniques to help you finish your song, because leaving your best ideas unfinished is worthless. I mean, no one's ever going to love a song that they never hear. And a song that's only 99% finished will never get recorded, never get on the radio, never change your life. So I'm going to give you some techniques to help you finish up those great ideas. But if you want to join me on a journey that's going to help you think like a pro and write like a pro, basically just go to giftfrombrent.com, download my free ebook. What that does is get you on the Songwriting Pro Insiders list. And so I'll send you all the information about it. And you check it out and join us. Space is limited. I only do this once every 6 months. So I won't be doing it again for a while. And we're only, just a few spots available, because it's interactive and it's a small crew. So if you want to join that, check it out at giftfrombrent.com. You get all the details there, and just watch your email. Awesome. Great. I mean, hey, you know what? You got to spend 33% of your life with your peers, writing with your peers. If you're going to be a good artist, you should spend 33% of the time that you spend writing, like helping people come up, right? Yeah. Maybe you're a little farther on your journey, but most people don't go and actively seek out the other 33%, which is writing above you and getting around teachers, getting around somebody that can show you something. And I tell you what, nothing gets your juices flowing, nothing gets you more excited than after you get like a bunch of new ideas and a bunch of new perspectives on something that you're so passionate about, and you're like, I never thought of that. And then you just go home and you're like, I can't wait to get going on it, and it reinvigorates you, right? It sort of gets it going again. So that brings us to the end of another Killer C.L.I.M.B episode. Once again, join the C.L.I.M.B community on Facebook if you haven't already. It's just search for C.L.I.M.B community on Facebook. Ask to be let in. We let everybody in, and we'll roadhouse you if you're obnoxious. Share it with people. If you like this, somebody else is going to like it too. And let them know. Let them know about it. Turn them on to it. Send them to it. Subscribe. That's what I forgot at the beginning. Subscribe. That way it automatically comes into your podcast player every Tuesday morning and every Friday for the mini-sodes. And those are just like little value bombs that are less than 15 minutes long, real quick pieces of information that are designed to give you quick wins. It is all there automatically. And then finally, take a couple seconds and leave a rating and review on iTunes. It helps us look legit to everybody else. You'll look cool, and we will make you famous and read it on the air. There you go. So this podcast exists because we want you to win, so keep on climbing. And we'll see you at the top.